subscribers. I am so thrilled about today's reading. This is a special collaboration with one of my dear friends, Monica from Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. And this collaboration is themed around gratitude. So I'm going to be delivering messages to you from your community, filling you in on why they're grateful for you. And Monica is going to be filling you in on why your spirit guides and spirit in general is grateful for you. So welcome if this is the first time you're joining me as well, if you're coming from Monica's channel or if you're coming just from YouTube itself. I'm so grateful to have you. My name is Odessa. I'm a mystic intuitive healer and I deliver messages to you through the cards that help you to awaken, heal, align, and grow. So I have 3 piles for you to select from today. Pile number 1 is partnered with this pine cone, and we've also got this beautiful pigeon feather, and then pile number 2 has these dried flowers, and we've got some orange calcite that is known to bring optimism and joy. It partners with the solar plexus chakra. And then pile number 3 is a combination of different dried flowers. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is, but these are the centers of daisies. So I'm going to give you guys a close-up of the items and the cards in just a moment, and I'll see you at your pile. Hi, pile number 1, welcome back. So you picked the pigeon feather and the pine cone, and in case you missed the intro, this is a special collaboration with the amazing Monica from Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. We're both focusing on gratitude. She's going to be delivering messages of gratitude from your spirit guides, and I'm filling you in on why your community is grateful for you. So I'm going to be covering your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors. It's like everyone that is part of your circle and filling you in on how they really see you. So these cards are going to tell me about how they see you. Then I'm going to be diving into a couple more decks to fill you in on how they're grateful for you in terms of your mental energy, your physical energy, your spiritual energy, your emotional energy. So let's get an overview of how they see you. So you received the 6 of Swords, healing, and this is card number 37. There's Aries on this card and the geranium. Ooh, Lilith, independence, card number 30. Emu, this is a good time to go on a new adventure. The Knight of Pentacles, and it says loyal, dedicated, protective, apprehensive, plan carefully before taking action, but then get going, pay attention to the details, wait for perfect timing, a guardian angel or someone who watches over you. Beautiful. And then we have the Ace of Cups, followed by the Gnome of Mushrooms and Buttons. Seek silliness and joy. They are wise teachers. And then your final card is the Witch Hare. Cross the threshold, leap the hedge, go over the wall. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, so in general, your community really sees you as someone who is very independent, who really seeks adventure. Like the energy I get from you is this sort of wildflower energy that I talk about in my readings. Like you are fiercely independent. You're very creative. You're willing to take risks. You will say yes when everyone else is saying no. And I think it's because you really know who you are and you've gone through a lot to get to this point. I think that you've had to face a lot of apprehension from others as well as your own inner conflict. I think that there's been a lot of barriers placed in front of you. Some of those are your own self-limiting beliefs that you overcame or you are overcoming. Some of that is barriers based on like what your community set out for you, like their self-limiting beliefs, their fears and phobias. Other things were placed in your way by spirit in general, like it was part of your karmic lessons, right? And always remember that karma is not negative, it's neutral. It's a balancing of energies, and everything that's working out in your life or playing out in your life is for your benefit. It just isn't always warm and fuzzy, right? And so you've had these barriers and you have pushed through them every time. You just are constantly exceeding other people's expectations. And as a result of that, they're so inspired by you. They're so inspired by you. They feel like you wake something up inside them that may have been dormant or might have been even lost at some point. And I feel like this specifically really started with your family. I think that you have a very healing energy for your family, but I don't necessarily think that they always saw it that way. I think that your family may have felt sort of triggered by you initially, but that was based on their own fear. And as they started to, watch you just fearlessly run forward, they started to like think that maybe that could be their energy as well. It was like you were giving them the strength and the courage to do what they had always wanted to do. And you worked at this for a really long time. It's not like it all just came to you overnight, and you had to sacrifice things. With Lilith energy, like she's considered the first wife of Adam, and she sacrificed being in the Garden of Eden to pursue her own personal autonomy, for her to be able to say, I am the master of what happens within my life, and specifically what happens with my body. And you had to release possibly people, or you had to walk away from opportunities or connections so that you could really have self-mastery. So you sought your own internal power and strength before everything else. But I also feel like you also have this sort of fiery nature, and you're the kind of person that will fight for what you believe in. And that's also really, really inspiring to people. I think that you are likely the kind of person that there was a lot of firsts in your life. You might have been the very first person to graduate from college or university in your family, or you were the first person to ever travel abroad. You were the first person to ever own your own home. Like, there's things that you did that others before you and your family couldn't do, and they're inspired and so proud of you. And I'm being told that your ancestors, and these are the people that passed before you, are so proud of you, that you've just done so much. And I think to a certain degree, you're also sort of aware of your place. That part of why you're here is to help people walk out of that dark energy, specifically with your family. I'm really getting that part of your role, especially with this Ace of Cups, because it's literally emerging from a water lily, which is associated with renewal and regeneration from pain. It's like the reward after the shadow work has been completed. And I think you might have been releasing generational trauma or generational curses. You were going places that your family couldn't go. And I think it's predominantly emotional. You were really like crossing the emotional waters. You were saying, okay, we as a collective, our group, our family, maybe haven't had the best skills when it comes to emotional regulation. We're hot-blooded, we're hot-tempered, we, say what we think. But you were maybe the first that said, okay, I have this fiery nature in me. I'm gonna, that's obvious with Aries and Lilith. but I'm going to go to therapy, or I'm going to read books, and I'm going to like work on myself so that I can take hold of this energy, so I can control this energy because it's powerful. This is the energy that will help me to break through walls, through barriers, to like not take no for an answer when I know that it should be a yes. But it's also the ability to like recognize when you have to sort of temper that and you have to like hold back. You are the first to really do that, to have like wise mind is the energy that's coming forward, to really understand that. And you just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked on this. Like it didn't come easy for you, right? You had plans like the Knight of Pentacles. You like laid everything out and you're like, okay, I'm going to take this step and then this step and then this step. And if it's not emotional, it might have been economic barriers that you were facing, where you were like, okay, well, you know, school is going to cost this much and I don't come from a family that just can just like hand me that money. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make sure that at the end of this, I am able to fulfill my goals and ambitions, and I'm not either discouraged because it's so difficult and there are barriers there, or I'm not so mired in like debt, for example, that I can't get out of that, you know, then that's the next hole that I end up in, you know, like there's something about you planning, and it's like you have this sense of humor about it. Like you are the wise teacher, but you're the laughing Buddha. Yes, you are the laughing Buddha. Oh my God, yeah. It's like you have a sense of humor about how dark things can be. And honestly, that is the key, because the healing and the teaching comes out of those dark moments. It's unfortunate, but living in a universe of duality requires that we see both sides of a situation. We have to be able to see darkness to appreciate light. And you are able to laugh through it, you know, like you've gotten to a point where when your guides are, or I mean, I don't know how spiritual you are. I get the sense that you are quite spiritual, but for those of you who may not like resonate with the idea of spirit guides, when you're faced with a hard period of your life, when you are like, oh, like why does everything have to be like pulling teeth to like move forward? You allow yourself to lean into that inner child and you laugh about it. You just are like, oh, well, you know, I can get mad at this. You know, I would be justified in being angry at this. But does it help me to feel better? Does it make it easier for me to keep going because I know I can't overcome this sort of like stagnancy or this quicksand, right? Like right now, is it better for me to just wait and just go with the energy and laugh this off? Or should I just like get angry about it? And I feel like in the past, you might have just gotten really angry about it. Maybe you felt like a victim. And you were, right? But there's something either that's already happened or will happen in the future where it's going to be like this light bulb epiphany moment where you're like, you know, to gain something, sometimes I have to lose something. And this might be part of that shedding process, or this is part of the hibernation before the growth happens. And I just have to like, just laugh it off, right? Like in 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 5 days, I might be able to understand exactly why this happened. It won't feel painful, and I can just laugh it off. And your community watches you do this. And I feel like you come out of some of like the most horrific situations. That's the word that just came forward. Horrific. Like really, really hard times. And you are just so full of optimism, or you've learned so much. Like you take something that's so dark and you transmute it into something so positive. Like you're the type of person that has like Adele, like this horrible breakup, and you write beautiful music as a result of it. Or, Taylor Swift does the same thing. Well, I mean, there's a million different artists that are doing that. But you get what I'm saying. Like, you are able to transmutate the hardest things in your life into something beautiful that's meaningful to other people. Or you have an awful period of your life where you're losing things. It's relationships, or it's jobs, or it's, friends, and all of that shed from you. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go on an adventure. If I don't have anything holding me here, I have nothing left to lose, then this is a sign from the universe that I need to go and have my eat, pray, love moment, right? You're gonna go off and just shed it all. And I'm just gonna dive into my spirituality, or I'm gonna dive into my craft. I'm gonna dive into my art. I'm gonna dive into who I want to be, because this is a gift from the universe to do that. And literally, it's you are such a wise teacher. To everyone that's around you, they're so inspired by it. There's a real feminine strength here. And you don't have to be a woman to have this power. This is a burning feminine power, that warrior spirit. And so many people, I just feel like I have to say this, but there's a lot of confusion about the traits that are associated with the divine feminine and the divine masculine, based on sometimes the way we as spiritual people talk about it, right? We all have divine feminine and divine masculine energy within us. Within the divine masculine, there is a version of the divine masculine that's the warrior, powerful, go-getter, all of that energy. But there's equally a soft side of the divine masculine. It plays out in a different way than it does in the divine feminine. And you have both the soft side of the divine feminine, and you also have this warrior spirit that is associated with the divine feminine in her most assertive, the Lilith energy, which is not the same as the divine masculine in his warrior energy. So I just wanted to point that out, because I feel like sometimes that gets a little muddled and a little confused. I was really called to bring that up. Okay, so now let's get some more details, right? So now we have a starting point. Now I want to know how your community is inspired by you mentally. Why are they grateful for pile number 1 and the wisdom that they bring mentally? Oh my God, yeah. Third eye chakra, pineal perspective. You're extremely intuitive. And I think that that's why you're able to take these risks and just go for the things that you want out of life. And the advice, I think that a lot of people come to you for advice, and the advice that you give them may be a little out of their comfort zone. There may have been times when they felt like you were just, a little reckless and not very realistic about what you were telling them to do, because you were probably saying the same things I say. Where I'm follow your heart. You have to do what your heart is telling you. What are you most passionate about? What do you love the most? Shake off all of the limitations of what society is placing on you, because all of that is false, and all of that is part of a system designed to keep you with the bare minimum. Exhausted and empty, and with very little to show for materially at the end of your life, right? You have to struggle and struggle and struggle, which then creates low vibrational energy. And if you have low vibrational energy in your energetic system, your auric field, that's magnetizing more of that to you, which means that your life ends up being more difficult than it has to be, right? The key to get out of that is not only to think positively, but to also embrace who you naturally, truly are. Who are you authentically? You do that, and I think you've always done that. I think you were probably a firecracker as a little kid, bursting with energy, literally the kind of kid that would just do anything, fearless, just go, 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 go. And you were fearless because you were being guided by spirit. You're in tune with who you are naturally, your higher self, and you're in tune with your guides. And so your perspective is based on that because you're not limiting your advice or your guidance to what has already happened. You're using all of the guidance that you're getting about what could happen, what vibrationally is in the Akashic records. So there are some that may have thought this is nuts and this is, like a fool's errand. Like they just really thought like this is, good luck with that. You're never going to like make anything of yourself. You're going to live in your parents' basement forever or something. And then you didn't. You might not have ended up with all of the material rewards that society says that we have to have, right? You're supposed to have a mega house and you're supposed to have 2 cars and be able to go on vacations twice a year. And I'm not saying that those things aren't beautiful. Those are wonderful. But your idea of a balanced, beautiful life may be dramatically different than what society deems as, valuable. And so you just went your own way. You were independent, you went your own way, and you created beauty all around you. I feel like if you haven't already received the material rewards that you want, it's coming. I get the energy that for you specifically, that your journey is a healing path where you are, having to transmutate a lot of low vibrational energy, do a lot of healing first, and then it's the material rewards come to you later on. So, wow, yeah, you really help people mentally get out of the matrix is what I am getting. Okay, so physically, how are people grateful for you physically? 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, I think that you actually probably help people a lot. You're like a give the shirt off your own back kind of person. So, you might have been someone who, no matter what you had, you were willing to share with another person physically, like literally like the kind of person that even if you weren't making a lot of money, you still like to donate to the food bank, or you volunteered at the food bank, or, even if you don't have a lot of time, you always made sure that you were reaching out to the people that you really love just to like send them a message and say, I'm thinking about you. Like you're very action oriented, and you help people to feel like the world isn't as empty as it can be, right? Like you can feel like, honestly, it can feel like we're in purgatory. Like this is so like there. Oh my God. Like I feel like you are doing what I do. Like you start to think about the disasters that are going on around the world, and you can feel hopeless, or you can sort of like laugh about it and have faith that things can change and shift if we change our actions, if we change what we're physically doing, and you lead by example and you help people out of this energy. That is incredible. Okay, so spiritually, let's find out why people are spiritually grateful for you. Patience, geomancy. Yeah, you are extremely, I think, patient with those that are in your community. So that might be a situation where you have had to deal with people that are working through these lessons in their lives, and they are maybe, needing more time to come to epiphanies or conclusions than you did. And you've showed a lot of patience with them, being a teacher, helping them, guiding them. Whereas maybe they lost patience with themselves, and you're like, you don't need to feel guilty about this. You don't need to look back at the past and think, oh, but why didn't I get this lesson the first time around? Why did I have to have 3, 4, 5 toxic relationships before the light bulb went off? Because maybe that was written into your life plan. Like, and I think that you get that, right? I think you understand, or you will understand, that literally everything happens for a reason. You know, it's like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, what that means isn't that the student finally did everything they needed to do for the teacher to appear. It's like when that student is energetically and spiritually, physically and mentally ready to take that next step, the universe will bring the teacher in. If the teacher didn't appear, you're not there yet. That's not where you're supposed to be, right? So if you haven't learned this lesson yet, I want you to know that you don't have to feel bad about anything that happened in the past. And you're going to learn that. You're going to align with that energy, really be able to point the way forward. There are the pyramids of Giza here, and they're all aligned with the North Star, right? And the North Star is how ancient people navigated. So, Sirius. Are they with, I think, is it the North Star? Sirius. You guys can correct me in the comments if I got that wrong, but I'm getting the energy that you have had patience with people, guiding them forward. That you also show a lot of patience with the universe. Like I was saying, with divine timing, you just understand it. And I think that you have a lot of wisdom about why things work out the way they work out. And you can have a sense of humor about it. And spiritually, that is a very enlightened way of looking at things. It's not easy to be able to say, all right, all of this awful stuff happened to me, but I'm going to laugh it off because I know that all of this happened to me for a reason. And I actually, my higher self was involved in writing this. And that can be really difficult when the trauma that you've experienced is really heinous, right? Like, I'm laughing about it, but because I know, like, it's so, to be perfectly honest, and I'm sure you can relate, it's so crazy the way that all of this is structured, that you kind of have to have a sense of humor about it. Otherwise, like, you would just cry. And there might have been times when that's what you did. But the only way to move out of that, like the crying and the feeling terrible and the being angry, did help you release things emotionally. But there does get to a point where it's like you realize that you have to make a choice to keep living, right? And you have to choose, you have to choose to feel good, right? Because that's the only way to keep going. There's something like someone who's watching this may have just lost a loved one. That's strongly coming forward, because when I learned that particular lesson, it was when my father died, and I was 25 when he passed away. The anniversary of his death just passed, actually, on November 10th. And it was a moment in time when I watched my family reacting to his death one way, and I was in despair over this. And there were family members that just could not move past that pain, right? And when my family would be like, how are you going to keep going? I was like, but what choice do I have? Like, I have no choice. My father would want me to keep living. My father would want me to keep going and striving for my dreams and living all of that life for the two of us. Now, of course, I'm psychic and I'm a medium, so I knew that he wasn't gone. So that might have, influenced my thought pattern at that time. But I really felt like I've got a choice here. I can either die right now, here, emotionally speaking, and spiritually, right? I could die and think, why would you take him from me when I was so young, and take him from, my sister was even younger. Or I can embrace the fact that this is part of all of our paths, right? And I can just choose to keep living. And I feel like if that isn't your storyline, although I do feel like someone has lost someone, And I'm hearing right now, I'm still here. I'm still here. So whoever you've lost, I feel like I'm going to start crying. Whoever you've lost, they are still here. They are still with you. And they're saying something about a bunny. Now, this could be more than one energy that's coming through, because there's a lot of people that will see this pile, but they're still here. Yeah. Yeah, you give a lot of hope to people. You give them a lot of hope. Okay, so emotionally, let's see why your community is grateful for you. Why is pile number one's community emotionally grateful for them? Knight of Wands. Yes, you allow them to feel their fiery energy. You allow them to feel the passion and the anger, and you help them to understand that that is within them for a reason, and you help them to understand how they can use that to charge forward so that they can take action. They can use that power to help them move towards their goals and, have, a deeper, it's almost like you are embracing all of the energy and all of the passion and all of the taste sensations, like all of the rawness and realness of being alive, like feeling so much love for someone that, if the relationship ends, you are plunged into despair, and like really feeling what it feels like to be in despair, feeling what it feels like to be overjoyed with happiness, right? Like you just are embracing all of the emotions. And as a result of that, it's like you're liberating people, because I think that a lot of pressure is placed on us to have muted emotions. And I think that that comes from a place where we're being sort of taught by people that are not comfortable with their emotions. And you are guiding people out of that. Like, because I think you're very raw. I think that your family, it could have been your community in general. You may have felt like, or others might have seen you as the black sheep. Like you're just very independent, very different, very out there. Otherworldly is what's coming forward. Very otherworldly. So you may have just always been eccentric, unique, different, interested in things that other people weren't interested in. You may be a very intense person too, like your passion might have intimidated people. You might be, I can relate to this. You may have just been like so excited to talk to people about the things that you are passionate about, or a news story or something that you just like are feeling deeply, and your passion is so intense that it's intimidated people at times, or they might have been like, why are you upset, or why are you angry? And really, you're not upset or angry at all. You're just passionate. Now, there may have been a time when you took that energy on, and in a way it's actually a form of gaslighting, where they're telling you that your emotions are too much, when in reality they're just cut off from their emotions, and you being so passionate makes them feel a little bit of fear, because energetically that your vibration will start to pull that out of them, and they want to keep it down. They're trying to like keep a stranglehold on what they naturally feel. But there are those around you that you have literally liberated them. Like I don't think you can be contained. I don't think you can be contained. I really like this energy so much. I can definitely see why your community is grateful for you, pile number one. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I'd love to know. Or you could just leave a 1 in the comments if you don't want to fill me in. Like, I just love seeing who you guys are, right? Like, you're all my family. You guys are like soul family. I feel really close and bonded to you. I feel like I know you, right? And so it's always so nice to see you guys, in the comments. But of course, no pressure there at all. If you liked the reading and it resonated and you want to share some love, you could give me a thumbs up. That would be awesome. And of course, go and check out Monica's reading. She's really amazing and she is like a beautiful person. So I know that you'll really get a lot from her reading as well. And if any of you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one, you can go to my website, odessamall.com. All of my services and booking information are available there. I do tarot card readings, spiritual coaching, Reiki, channeled messages from your spirit guides, and I do past life Akashic Records readings. So have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, file number 2, welcome back. So you picked the dried flowers and the orange calcite. And in case you missed the intro, this is a special collaboration with the amazing Monica from Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. We're looking at gratitude. She's going to be filling you in on why your spirit guides are grateful for you. I'm filling you in on why your community is grateful for you. So these cards are going to be generally how your community sees you, and your community includes basically everyone in your life. So this is your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, like everyone that you're interacting with, even people that you've had minimal connections with online. So this is like a general overview of who you are, and then I'm going to be diving in a little bit deeper and pulling out more cards so that I can fill you in on why your community is grateful for you mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So let's find out how they see you. All right, you've got the Queen of Cups, followed by Hope, the number 38, the Daffodil. There's Taurus on this card as well. And then we've got Parvati with Devotion in the number 42. Honeybee, let compassion and forgiveness be your top priority in this situation. And then the Ace of Swords, Justice, Four of Swords, and Walker on the Wind. The Raven shows the way. Be courageous. Change and chance can bring exciting wonders. So this is really interesting. You are an extremely compassionate person. You are so, so, so loving. And I think that you have been with people in their darkest times. You have stuck by them when they felt like they were entirely alone. The Four of Swords is typically a card talking about resting and recuperating. It is very rare to find artwork with more than one person, because typically it's talking about going into isolation. There are two individuals on this Four of Swords card, and one is sort of like wrapping themselves around the other. You are helping others to get through dark times. You help them to find compassion and self-forgiveness. And I think that you had to go through that experience yourself. You had to walk that path yourself to find hope about the future, to find direction, possibly to overcome something really, really hard. Some of you might have had cancer, because this daffodil is making me think of, in Canada anyways, the daffodil is part of the cancer campaign. So in this spring, there's a group that will sell daffodils to raise money for cancer research. So you may have had to come through something like difficult, like overcoming cancer, or it could be any number of things, but that's the one thing that came forward there. But you've had to really overcome something very, very difficult, and you had to find hope and compassion and possibly forgiveness for other people. This might, if it wasn't a situation with your health, or it could have been in addition. You may have had conflict with people. There might have been those in your past that didn't work with you. You know, they weren't a support to you. Maybe this was a situation where your family, your parents specifically, weren't there for you and you had to sort of raise yourself, or you had to raise them. And it put you in a position where you ended up growing up with sort of like people pleasing tendencies, um, possibly even codependency. And I say this with love because I've had to work through this as well. It's difficult. You're coming forward as an empath. So typically empaths, when they are incarnated into the earthly realm, because for all of my regular subscribers, you know I am deeply spiritual and a firm believer in reincarnation. And typically, an individual who would fall under the umbrella of highly sensitive or empathic, you're placed in a home that desperately needs that energy, right? You may have felt like, why am I so sensitive and everyone else seems to be able to hold it together? They're not holding it together. They are bottling it up. Now, of course, you probably know that now, or you're starting to come to that realization that like they're not like all emotionally balanced. They're just completely cut off from their emotions altogether. And so I hope that if you're not there yet, you will start to understand that your role in the family was to bring that intense love, to bring a different perspective to dealing with emotions, to help guide people towards a place of forgiveness and acceptance. And oftentimes we have to lead by example. So there's some people that you're forgiving. Now, I don't necessarily, when I say that, you know, it can be really difficult to hear, right? I can remember at the beginning of my journey, or, you know, this was multiple times actually that I had to come back to this particular lesson, to forgive those that were really, really awful to me, right? To be able to really release and forgive them so that I could get that out of my energy field and I wouldn't magnetize more of that to me. But there was all kinds of situations that had occurred where I was like, but they were really awful. I would talk to my guides and I'd be like, but they were so terrible to me. And I came to a place of understanding where I was forgiving the limitations of who they are in this moment, right? That we're all here as just like a fraction of who we actually are, because we're here to learn lessons and grow. And so there are restrictions that are placed on us. It's like having blinders, or like they're blindfolded. They don't know. And I had to, it's like getting mad at somebody who is completely unable to do better, right? Like getting upset with a child, or getting upset with an animal that like literally isn't able to do what you want them to, right? You know, like puppies, for example, getting mad at a puppy for not being able to hold their bladder when like physically their system hasn't developed to the point where they can like do that, right? They can hold it that long. You know, like that's where I had to get to. And maybe if you're not there yet, that will help you as well. Like it's not that they don't want to be better. They're not able to. And that can be really sad, because then you have to sort of accept the fact that, well, I guess the relationship that I have in my mind that I'm hoping we will get to won't ever materialize. And there can be a mourning period for that. And you might have had to go through that as well. You know, the resting and recuperating, and understanding the karmic scales and the balance. You know, the reason why like sometimes doors are shut in our face. You know, sometimes we have to accept like you'll never have the relationship that you would like to have with your mom or with your sister, or, you know, the, you know, relationship with your extended family or whoever it might be. But by accepting that, it liberates you. So you no longer have to pressure yourself to do certain things or perform a certain way or live up to expectations that are never going to give you the outcome that you want. If you liberate them from those expectations, you're also liberating yourself. And then you can redirect back to people that can actually fulfill those roles because, like I said, I firmly believe in reincarnation. So what that means is that you have lived hundreds, if not thousands of lives before the one you're in right now. And when you were in those previous lives, they were likely not connected to the family you're in right now at all. Literally a totally different family in a different part of the world at a different time. And you've had relatives where you had the relationship that you wanted. That's partially why you seek it so desperately, because you know what it feels like to have that kind of bond with your family or with a lover or with a best friend. You know acutely what that feels like. And that means that you can have it again when you write the next storyline. And it also means that all those people that loved you so unconditionally could potentially be incarnated as a different person in this life. They might come to you in a different way than they did the last time. They might come to you unexpectedly as a coworker or unexpectedly as a teacher in some capacity, right? Like they come to you in different forms. Or they might be acting as a spirit guide, or they're an ancestor, right? Like you have literally thousands of ancestors that are watching over you, pouring love into you. And I think that you, if you're not there yet, you're getting to that point and you're dramatically influencing the other people around you. I get the sense that you're liberating your family, but this also feels a lot more like you're having a massive influence on your friends, your friend community, and a massive influence on the love partners that you've had. I think that they see specifically love partners, but also friends. They see how devoted you are, like literally, burning in the fire for the people that you love. And, like, always seeing the beauty in another person, and that inspires them. I think that there's lots of people that have been awful to you, right? Because I think that they thought you were a fraud is what's coming forward. Initially, they thought you were a fraud. Like no one could actually be that unconditionally loving. No one could actually be that supportive. Now, what game are they playing? This is an act. They're just doing this so that they can get something from me. And then I think with time, and for a lot of you, it's actually with hindsight. So you were in a relationship, you gave everything that you possibly could to this person. They didn't appreciate you. They rejected you. They walked away to get some fresh start, to go towards something egoic, probably. Someone egoic, maybe. And then when the karmic scales came in and balanced the energy out, where they basically had to walk through the flames themselves, where they had to experience rejection and heartache and loss, then they looked back at what you were offering and they started to see it through a different lens. They started to see, wow, they see you as an angel, right? Like that you were a once in a lifetime connection that they'll never be able to get back. But it also changed, and I think they went through loss, like feelings of deep remorse. But I also think that they are now treating, or they will treat, new connections that they have in the future in a totally different way. Like, will truly value people that are bringing something into their lives instead of just throwing it all away, right? Like thinking that nothing is, like, the energy I get is that for some of these people, they treated all life as just meaningless. Like, you just get what you need to get, and if you hurt people along the way, so be it. And you just don't live your life that way. I think that you communicate very clearly and precisely how you think and feel and how you love. Like, I think you might have freaked people out, to be honest. I get the energy that you might be a person that like wears your heart on your sleeve and you're like, I love you, you know? I love you, you're important to me. And that can sometimes make people that are not comfortable with emotions very uncomfortable, right? And it might have even made them think even more strongly that you're trying to manipulate them, because if they are raw like that, it is them like love bombing someone. They do have an agenda, but there's something that you help like shift in them. You showed them how to be raw and emotional and courageous, to like really go into the darkness, right? Because to liberate yourself emotionally and still be strong, to know who you are, not to give your power over to someone else, like, and say, please love me, to be able to say, I love you, you're amazing, you're important to me, and also be able to maintain your own strength and power is something that has to be worked on. That is an art. It doesn't just like come to you. You had to work at that. But I get the energy of old soul here too. And I definitely get starseed energy from you. Like I feel like you're otherworldly in like the truest sense of that. Like, and you walk by faith, not by sight. And people are so grateful to have known you. To have known you is what they said, my guides, to have known you. So these are definitely people that are no longer in your life, that are seeing you this way. I do think that you have a raw, natural beauty to you as well. Like you may have felt pressure at some point to conform to beauty standards, but you're always the most beautiful when you are naked, is what I'm being told. And that might literally be like exactly what that means, right? Like you have a beautiful body and when you're naked, you're gorgeous. But I feel like it's the rawness. And it's like when you're so just present and emotionally raw and naked, that's when you're the most beautiful. Like the kind of energy where someone like is so lovely when they are, you know, crying, or, and I don't mean in a toxic way, like I was reluctant to even say that, but I have to share everything that gets channeled to me. You know, like your vulnerability is so beautiful, or so beautiful without makeup, and your hair is in sweats, and it's just like, you know, you wake up and there's just like this glow to your skin, or like the color of your lips, like just beautiful, really beautiful. Oh man, I love that. Okay, so now let's find out how your community is grateful for you and what you bring to them mentally. All right. Oh, you got 3 cards. Lucky, lucky, lucky. All right. So mentally, you got life force energy, crystal keys, and reclaiming your energy. Yes. So you really explain to people how they can tap into their own energy. The crystal keys is talking all about seeing things from, you know, different perspectives. So this could be literally like spiritual insight that you have, but it's like looking at life through all the different facets, like how you can like look at the same problem and everyone has a different perspective of it. And how by acknowledging that, you can hold your boundaries and you can reclaim your energy, because if somebody has a different perspective of something, that's okay. You're equally right, because there are many different facets to a particular crystal, right? All of these, looking at it through a different lens, will give you a different insight, but it's all part of the same crystal. Like you get that. And with that, you just are then raw and abundantly like alive, and you just are embracing everything that's going on around you, the life force energy. You're in alignment with everything that you're being given. Very present. I get the energy of like, you don't need a lot to be happy, but you also know how to gracefully receive. You give and give and give. That is definitely part of the lesson that you learned. You learned how to receive And you had always been giving and giving and giving and giving, and now you're able to share that with other people. And that shift in their perspective, their consciousness, like their logic mind, has liberated them, and they're so grateful for that. And if this hasn't happened yet, this is going to happen. This is something that you will shift through, and then you're going to have that effect on other people. That is so beautiful. So now let's get some guidance on how your community is grateful for you physically. Page of Cups. So you must be physically creating unexpected experiences or insights for people. You might be the type of person that will just pop up, you know, in somebody's life, you know, like you knock on their door and you're like, hey, let's go, you know, check out this new restaurant, or let's go, you know, like just, it feels like you are just, you pop up with unexpected opportunities, ideas, things that are just exciting, fresh, and unique. Maybe you help them to get into their inner child. So maybe you're like, hey, let's go, you know, skateboarding is what's coming forward. Skateboarding, I got rollerblading, could be roller skating, and I also got tobogganing. I don't know if you guys all call it that. In Canada, it's like sledding, right? Snow sledding. Yeah, that's so fun. You might also help people to tap into their own intuition as well on a physical level. Like you're literally giving them guidance, and they're so grateful for that. There's something just sort of whimsical and magical and fun and unique and different and just unexpected about you, and people are so grateful. You might be the type of person that will pop up and like someone's really feeling down and you like just knock on their door. Maybe you don't even know them that well. And this happened to me once with one of my good friends where we didn't even know each other that well. Something bad had happened to me. We worked at the same company, and she just like knocked on my door. Like we only knew each other from work. Like she just knocked on my door and, you know, had drinks and food, and we like instantly became like best friends. Like you're that kind of person. You're like my friend. You're the one that'll just knock on somebody's door. Like, wow, that's so beautiful. Now I'd like to know why people are grateful for you spiritually. Oh, yes. You've got knowledge and healing crystals. Oh my God. So you are definitely providing like crystals, like exactly what I was saying before with crystal keys, giving people a different perspective. You are showing them their own power. I think that you're explaining spiritual concepts to them. The knowledge, you're giving them their own power back. You're explaining to them that they have knowledge locked inside them that they can tap into. And you may be working in a spiritual field, and that is part of this, you know, amazing spiritual influence that you have on them. But you could be giving them, you know, advice that's healing to them, that liberates them from, you know, what they've been doing in a very physical way, right? Like helping them to really know how intelligent they are. Like I can't believe many of my subscribers, many of you guys are you know, unique and different, and you don't look at things through the same lens as like, you know, what is typical, right? You are neurodivergent. You are unique and beautiful and wonderful, and I feel so blessed to know you. And many of you have felt like your unique perspective or your knowledge, like the way that you express yourself or the way you see a problem was wrong in some way, or you weren't intelligent because you didn't learn the way other people learn. And you may have already, or you will be learning that no, there's been this like stranglehold on what is normal, and none of that is factual. It's just based on this system of categorization that helps powerful people stay in control, right? If they can like project onto people that they're not enough, then they don't have to worry about those people. You'll just be like feeling so bad about yourself, you'll never rebel against them. And then it's also a power play where they can say, oh, it's not me that's the problem, it's them. Those people are different from us and they're not normal, and then they divert all of the attention onto totally normal, innocent people. It's like you help others to start feeling confident about themselves, to start feeling like there is a meaning behind them being here and they have something special to share. And that is such a beautiful thing to give people. Like, that is so truly spiritual. It's like unconditional love. Oh, I love that. Okay, now I'd like to find out why your community is emotionally grateful for you. Oh my God, yes, you are definitely spiritually guided people. You received the Hierophant, so a spiritual master, but also a wise teacher. So whatever knowledge you have gained over the course of your life, or are gaining over the course of your life, you are going to be, I just heard the wise diplomat. Like, you are fair and you are just, you are tolerant, you are inclusive, and you are sharing that. You, I get the sense, are going to break down systems. And emotionally, that's very liberating to people. You also got the King of Swords. So you have clarity in the way that you think, and you are able to connect your logic mind with your emotional body. You know, you don't let one rule over the other. You blend the two of them together. And you're able to articulate your ideas in a way that helps people to like relate and understand. They can process what you're saying because like it's speaking to their heart is the energy I'm getting. And I think that you are somebody who is going to help people heal from wounds from establishments, you know, organizations. So this could be people that have trauma around organized religion, or family, or career, or, you know, there's all the established organizations have a shadow element to them, and they have created pain in people's lives. And you help people to emotionally heal from that, to be able, like, if you're spiritual, maybe you're helping people to get over their fear of spirituality, or feel like they can have their own personal relationship with God, that they don't have to go through somebody else to have that, right? Like, there's no need. You don't need a priest. You don't need a spiritual teacher. You don't need a guru. You don't need anyone else to help you have a relationship with spirit, with God, with your ancestors. You know, the people like myself that are out doing this kind of work can help translate things for you, but no one should ever be saying like, you, to have a relationship with spirit or with God, you have to go through me and I decide whether you're worthy because, you know, I'm on God's right hand. That is somebody who is deeply out of alignment, and they are seeking to have power and control over you. Right? And it's dangerous because it's everywhere. You can't, it's in the spiritual realms as well. There's plenty of people doing work like what I do, and I just see them as cult leaders. That's like my deepest fear, right? Like people that want to seek, you know, healing and alignment, falling for those kinds of tricks. And I think that whatever you're doing, you're helping people to understand that they don't need anyone else to be, you know, connected with their spiritual side. They don't need anyone else. And that is just so emotionally healing. Oh my God. There are so many reasons why Your community is grateful for you. I am grateful for you. This is such beautiful energy. Oh my God. You guys are doing such incredible work. I really, really, really appreciate you. I feel so honored and thrilled to be able to read for you. This is such a pleasure. I hope that one day as we build this community and it grows, that maybe one day we'll all be able to get together and have like a meetup or something, because I am not exaggerating. This is absolute truth when I say I really would love to meet you guys and hang out and like know you. Like that would be so incredible, because like you're exactly the kind of people that I've always been wanting to meet in my life, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I would love to know what you thought of the reading. If you picked pile number 2 and you don't feel like sharing a lot, just put a number 2 in the comments, so I know that you're out there and I can start to get a feel for who I'm connecting with in a more of a physical way. Like I feel you all so intensely energetically, but it's always nice to like see you in the physical as well. And if you could give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the reading, of course, or subscribe if this is the first time you're joining me, that would be amazing. And if any of you guys are interested in having a one-on-one session with me, you can go to my website, odessamall.com. All of my services and booking information are available there. I do tarot card readings, spiritual coaching, Reiki, channeled messages from your spirit guides, and I also do past life Akashic Records readings. So have an amazing day. I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next reading. Take care. Hi, pile number 3, welcome back. So you picked the dried plants, and in case you missed the intro, this is a special collaboration with the amazing Monica from Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. We're looking at gratitude. So she's going to be filling you in on why your spirit guides are grateful for you. I'm going to be filling you in on why your community is grateful for you. And your community includes your family, friends, co-workers, neighbors. This can be acquaintances. It can also include people that you've met online that don't even know you that well. But basically, these first cards are going to be filling me in on how they see you. Then I'm going to be diving in deeper and figuring out why they're grateful for you mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So let's see how they see you, pile number 3. So the first card is the Queen of Wands, followed by Love, Tomato, Libra, the number 30, and the water symbol are on that card. Then we have Happiness with Fire, Gemini, and the number 15, and then a plant that I believe is called Marjoram. I'm not entirely sure. That's the plant though. And then you've got Passion with the earth symbol, Beetroot, Leo in the number 7. The Goddess Anya with adaptability, card number 1. The Moon, and it says, listen to your intuition and pay attention to signs from the divine. Unnecessary worry, let go of your fears, revelations that will make everything clear. Then the Chariot, rewards that come from hard work, successfully balancing many priorities at once, determination and willpower, and public recognition. Followed by Falcon, act on the opportunity that's before you and commit to it without evocation. King of Wands, 7 of Wands, and the Northwood Fade. Take time for hibernation and healing. Okay, so pile number 3, you have some very intense, fiery, passionate energy. You've got not only the fire symbol on the happiness card, you also have the passion card, and you have the Queen and King of Wands, which is fire energy. This is very action-oriented, charged towards your dreams, make things happen, feeling comfortable in the spotlight, feeling comfortable pursuing your ambitions, not apologizing for who you are. You could have some really creative energy, and this is balanced energy because you've got the two counterparts. So you've got your own energetic system in balance, or you're working to that, or that's at least how people see you, which it's, who we are truly is a combination of all of those things. You are who you are based on how you define yourself, but you're also who you are based on how other people see you. And then you're who you are based on your higher self and who you are, in totality, not just like the fragment of embodied energy. So you may have created a lot in this life. You may be known for your passion and your creative vision. The energy that's coming forward is that you have always had a lot of ambition, and you always had like goals, things that you wanted to do in this life, possibly a certain level of status that you wanted to get to in this life. That you had been sort of building and pursuing all the way along. And you have really been able to get to a point where you're very adaptable on how you're going to get to that. Like, I think that you have maneuvered yourself. And I get the sense that you might have gone through a transformation in how you approach that adaptability. Because there are two different ways that could have manifested in your life. And most of us have to go through this sort of metamorphosis. There might have been a time in your life, or you might still be there, where you see success as sort of I just heard the word landmines, that the route to success is something that has to be carefully tread, that it's about aligning yourself with the right people. And oftentimes it's who you know, not what you know. And you have to sort of present a version of yourself, potentially a false mask. And that might require you to have very strong boundaries and be very protective of your energy. Now, to a certain degree, that's true, and to a certain degree, that is false. Because if we lean entirely into that and we live our entire lives from a place of, masking, or a place of adapting and shifting and changing ourselves to fit whatever the narrative is at that moment, or whatever the expectations are of others, we can end up feeling quite lost. Because how do you ever know who you are if you're constantly having to shield others from, who you feel authentically, or adapt to whatever the changing trends are? And it can also end up making you feel quite alone, because how do you know who truly are your friends if they've never really seen who you really are, right? And that can add a lot of fear to this process, especially if you're working towards being in the public eye, being seen, which definitely is a possibility, because the King and Queen of Wands are definitely individuals that I would associate with being either like entrepreneurs or being seen and being leaders. It could be like on, social media influencers. I talk about that a lot. I would associate the Queen and King of Wands with that kind of energy, as well as Leo. And the Love card as well, indicating that you may have been seeking the love and approval of other people. But if you play by those rules, you could potentially also attract people that are not necessarily playing the same game. Like, they're also masking and pretending, but because they don't go any deeper than that. People that are more narcissistic and may have taken advantage of you, seek to steal some of your energy, seek to steal some of your ideas. People that are sort of hangers on, like everything is great and they're definitely more than happy to be at your side as you're on your way up. But then when things get rough, they're nowhere to be seen. Like they're only interested in being in the VIP and bottle service. They're not interested in, real life. Like you go through a breakup or there's a death in the family and, your phone is dead, like that kind of energy. And that can be really, really, really heartbreaking. And you may have experienced that where like people that you really thought like loved you were really very fickle, superficial friends. And it might have been as a result of you sort of being guided towards them to learn this particular lesson. It might have been a situation where you were being guided to them because they were karmic. And through that experience, that interaction with them, you were learning to value yourself and seek more from relationships. They might have, at face value, had everything you were looking for. Like they had the right job, or they looked the part, right? And they're attractive, or they wear the right clothes, and they have the right hair, and they like say the right thing. Like my guides are saying like buzzwords to me. Like that's what they just said, buzzwords. So they might have had like known like the right bands to name drop, or like they just know what's cool, but it was all like, it wasn't truly who they are. It was all about creating this sort of persona. And so when you tried to get real with them, they didn't want that. They want you to, be playing the part, playing this role. And then they would, drop you, is the energy I'm getting, when they could align with someone else that might help them to reposition. It's like, oh yeah, you're amazing, you're my best friend, you're incredible, until they meet someone who's just a little bit more successful than you, or has an uncle that is, like powerful, and they're like, oh, thanks, but I'm busy now, and then they're off hanging out with these new people, is the energy that I'm getting. And I think that was sort of heartbreaking for you, and it took you some time to get over it. Like you had to withdraw from possibly the public eye altogether and heal from this. Really like start to look at your life and start to like ask yourself, what are you pursuing and why are you pursuing it? Are you pursuing it because you want to be authentic and creative and birth something new into the world? Really take advantage of the opportunities and like explore your potential to the greatest degree? Or are you doing it because you want external validation and approval, right? There's nothing wrong with getting external validation and approval, right? Like it feels good. It feels good when you guys tell me that you like my readings and that they resonate. But even if none of you told me that, I would still do this because I feel like there's value. Like even if you never told me, I feel like I'm helping you. I feel like I'm adding value, and it makes me feel good because I know that I'm being authentic. I do it because this is who I truly am. But I didn't always live my life that way. Like, as many of you guys know, I worked in the fashion industry as a designer. I was fully immersed in that whole culture of you have to look a certain way and you have to say the right things, and like it was all like facade. Like none of it was real, and it was so hard for me because I'm a very honest person, and I didn't understand like why were we constructing these false, creative narratives when we could really immerse ourselves in like true creativity, being honest. And eventually I had to have the bravery to walk away from that and redefine, that aspect of my life. And now I'm still just as creative, but I do it in entirely different ways. And I feel so liberated. And I feel like you're going through this as well, or you will be going through this, and people are going to be so inspired. It's not just that you're like, the old circle will see you. It's like you're liberating more than just that. It's like people that don't have the same background as you at the same background as you at all are going to be liberated. They're going to start to have compassion with themselves in a way that maybe they didn't before. Maybe they harshly judged themselves. Maybe they judged the opportunities that are around them. And you are going to be shedding all of the fakery is what's coming forward. You're shedding the fake and you're embracing the real, and you're allowing your fiery passion to really bubble up to the surface. And you're recognizing like, no, I don't have to like buy into this any longer. What my guides are showing me is the difference between store-bought tomato sauce and handmade sauce that's like sitting on the stove all day, made with love, simmering and simmering and simmering. And before, you were like fully invested in the store-bought sauce, and now you're like, nope, I'm not even going to go with a recipe. I'm going to let my intuition guide me. I'm going to feel my way through this sauce. And it's like, you know, it's going to taste so much better. Oh my God, that is amazing. It's getting you into alignment with your life purpose, and people are taking note. They are seeing that, because I think that you're going to have so much success if it hasn't already started to happen. I mean, all of this love that you are seeking is going to come to you, but I think that if you looked at your astrology chart, you would actually start to see indications of some of the things I'm talking about. It all had to do with you coming into balance with who you authentically are, alignment of like body, mind, and spirit kind of energy. Like once you were in alignment, oh my God, I'm like looking at these cards and I'm like, my guides just kept like getting me to like look at the top of the card, and I'm like, what are you trying to get me to look at? On the top of the love card is the Libra, right? That's balance. And now what I wasn't noticing on this card is it's 15, which reduces down to the number 6. And that's also talking about balance. It's a balance of divine masculine, divine feminine energy. It's also those two, like the number 6 is connected back to the Star of David, which is I always talk about it as being the two alchemical symbols superimposed on top of each other. It's actually all 4 elements represented in the Star of David, and it's referring to that balance of everything inside us and externally to us. And then this is card number 7. There are 7 primary chakras in our energetic system, and that's also talking about balance. So wow, yeah, once you get to a place of balance, something about the Saturn return is coming. So maybe that was your first Saturn return is like the catalyst for when this energy starts to shift for you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. This kind of transformation takes place. I'm getting 7, so it might have taken 7 years for you to fully embrace and attune, is what I'm getting, to this energy. But people are going to not only be completely inspired by you, but they're going to want you to guide them forward. Like I could easily see you becoming some sort of coach. And it could be like literally like you have like a coaching program, you do something like one-on-one with clients. It could be something where you create like a Udemy course or a program. You could have a podcast, you have your own channel. There's something where you're sharing your journey, you're sharing your knowledge. And oh my God, the Chariot has the Star of David on the front of the freaking card. That is amazing. So wow. Yeah, there's something about you wanting to freely share your knowledge. It's not like you're holding back. And it's so appreciated by this community that you're building, is the energy I'm getting. You are building it, and it's based on true passion, true love, building real happiness, not fake happiness. This isn't it. Like, think of how many celebrities are out there. It's like the contrast between people that like just shake it all off and just like go out and do their own thing, and then like the celebrities that like buy into everything that Hollywood is trying to put on them, and then we find out that they have serious issues with like drug dependencies, or they like unalive themselves because like they were so unhappy with their lives, and like at face value you think, oh, you have like all these opportunities and everyone thinks you're so amazing and hot and you have all this money, because that's doesn't fulfill people, right? Especially if you got it through fakery because you weren't really being honest with the world about who you were. Now, of course, whatever you're showing is likely an aspect of you. So that might also have something to do with it. Recognizing that it, you know, by putting your best foot forward and showing yourself as who you want to be, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily faking it, right? Where's the fakery? If you're doing it, it is you. It's just a change in mindset, right? That fake it till you make it energy. I think, at least maybe this is my own issue with it, where I have embodied that at times, and then I felt like I was being disingenuous, but I had to like shift my mindset and realize like, wait a minute, if you're doing it, it is you. And it's just my own imposter syndrome that made me feel like I wasn't. So let's find out how your community is grateful for you in terms of your mental energy. Like, what are they? Oh, nice. Starseer, yes. You are helping them to understand that they can climb the ladder and they don't have to play by the fake rules of Hollywood, fake rules of the academia or business. There's plenty of ways for us to have success. And like those companies, those disruptors are proof of that. You can be a disruptor in any area, right? Like, I've brought this example up before, but I think that it illustrates a point. Whereas Netflix came in and like completely changed the system. Like Blockbuster was top dog. And if you guys don't know what Blockbuster is, they were like a movie video rental company. They tried to pivot and pivot and pivot. They just completely went bankrupt because they were slow to adapt, because they were a hulking huge company with shareholders, and the attitude was, well, we've always done it this way, so it's gonna work if we just stick with these rules. And then Netflix came in and they're like, no, we can see the changing tides and we're gonna do it our way. And then they just completely took over. They dominated the industry going forward, right? And it was all about having faith and belief and listening to their intuition and moving towards that. And of course, Netflix will die too, because somebody else will come along with a better idea that goes, one step further in terms of like bringing that kind of entertainment to people at home or whatever it is. It'll be like VR or something. We'll literally have holodecks. I'm so excited for that. But anyways, I digress. So you're helping people mentally escape their own self-limiting beliefs, and they're so grateful for you because you've helped them to see what could be. You've helped them to see that they don't have to ask permission from somebody else to take a step forward towards their dreams, right? If they believe that they can achieve something, that is step number one. Then it's listening to your intuition, right? Because your guides are trying to guide you towards the doorways that will help you to fulfill your own dreams and ambitions. There's a reason why you want those things. If you If they weren't meant for you, you wouldn't want them. Believe me, you would want something else. There's a reason why it's nagging at you over and over and over and over again, that there's something that you want. Even when you're, successful, you still want this other thing. And once you lean into that and you take a risk, and you may have to shed things, you may have to lose things that you had built before, you had valued before. That's when, that fearlessness, that like fool jumping off the cliff kind of energy, which is like the first card of the major arcana, it starts to reward you and you become an inspiration, and you're going to help others to, tap into that same energy in their life in a way that, makes sense to what their journey is. And people are so grateful for that. Now let's find out how they're physically grateful to you. How is pile number 3's? Oh, 5 of Wands. Yes. So you are a person not only that will like physically, like you're very passionate and fiery and you go after your dreams and ambitions and you have strong boundaries. You fight the good fight. You will fight for what you believe in. And so that means that you likely will go, to bat for those that you love. If there is something that needs to be done, like, something needs to be said, there's some action that needs to be taken, you will do it, even if it's difficult, even if it is going up against popular opinion. You will, be more than happy to take that step. Like, this is strong, like warrior energy. This is very inspiring. I can definitely see why they are so grateful for you, because I feel like you're the type of person that your friends know that you have their back no matter what, right? Like, I think that you will go to bat for people in a way that other people wouldn't for you in the past. When you were going through hard times, or like you said the wrong thing, but you meant something else, people in the past would like turn on you. Whereas you would never have done that. You would have tried to help the energy I'm getting is try and quench the flames. Like, you would have tried to, you would sacrifice yourself, and you didn't have any like fear of how that was going to personally affect you if you stepped forward. You just knew what was right and what was wrong. You had a really great sense of, what is fair, and you would go there. This is like the energy of like, when everyone else is like, just going along with whatever the boss is saying, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't right. I don't think that we should do that. Like, I think that this is wrong. And you know that by doing that, you might be hurting your career, but you did it anyways. I feel the sense that you can't help yourself. And I can relate, because I was like that too. And it can definitely really hurt your career. But what I'm getting from this is that the universe is going to reward you. Like, you may have been not gotten promotions, or not gotten jobs, or had failed relationships, or just had things not work out for you because you were trying to be authentic. But you will be rewarded. And I think, like I was saying before, some of you were able to sort of mask yourself and go along with, the standards of your industry or the expectations of your community. And it still backfired. So no matter how this energy is playing out physically in your life, there are people that are so grateful for you to have this energy, and that will build momentum, is what I'm being told. Your loyalty and your fearlessness will start to be seen as something that's rare and beautiful, and something to be celebrated. So let's find out how your community is grateful for you spiritually. Oh, nice. So the first card you got is communication with dictionary, and you also got aura, observation. You are able to pick up and read people's energy. So this might easily be a situation, yeah, this feels like social justice, where you are able to tell if someone is low vibrational. You know, like you can tell if they're not being honest or trustworthy. Like you don't just take everything at face value. You can tell like when something is off, when someone's creepy, even if like they seem like they're charming or they're nice. Like you might have kind of like overlooked that in the past because you thought, you know, maybe I'm being too judgmental, or, you know, maybe I just have to trust the process. I have to take a risk because this might be my big break. And that probably backfired for you. And now you know, now you have those strong boundaries, right? Or you're working towards the strong boundaries with the Seven of Wands. And so spiritually, people are very grateful for you because I think that you speak truth and you communicate what you're seeing and experiencing and how you got there in a really clear way. You know, like they understand exactly what you're trying to say. And energetically, I think you're attuning yourself so that you have healing energy. Like they feel renewed and excited and joyful around you. They feel empowered is what I am getting. Like you're the kind of person that like in a past life you would have likely been the captain or the leader of a particular army. That you were the one delivering empowering speeches. You know, like it feels like, like I am kind of a nerd. And so I watch a lot of like, I like comic books, I like science fiction, I like fantasy, like I like all that stuff. So my guides give me a lot of examples through that kind of pop culture. So what I am seeing is a scene from the Lord of the Rings TV show that was on it was on Amazon, and it was this small group of people from this town trying to fend off this fort from like thousands of orcs. And like you would have been like right there with them, you know, giving empowering speeches, you know, building them up so that they could like face the storm that was going to come. Like I feel like you tell people like honestly what is to come, and because you are very clearly and effectively explaining to them, you know, what's going on in their life. It could be like like I was saying, the energy that they're being affected by, or the karmic lessons. There's something about you explaining how to observe the world, how to pick up on key information, how to analyze and redirect when necessary, that's touching them on a very deep spiritual level. And it's helping them to feel brave in the face of darkness is what's coming forward. When in the past they might have felt like they had no strength, like they couldn't overcome it. And you're giving them such a feeling of empowerment that they feel like even with nothing, they're shielded and protected. You might do spiritual work. You might be literally helping people connect with their ancestors and their guides. And that's why spiritually they feel like they are protected. Oh my God, that's so powerful. Okay, so now let's find out why your community is grateful for you emotionally. Oh my God, that is so wild, because similar cards came out in one of the other piles. So you got the Hierophant and the King of Coins. So yes, you are guiding people. The Hierophant can be a spiritual teacher, guide, but it can be a master teacher in any realm. This can also be talking about institutions, especially institutions that are long held. And the King of Coins is, you know, a master manifester, one of the most abundant figures in the tarot. You're helping people to gain self-mastery, to understand who they are, to connect with their higher self on a deep spiritual level, and you're helping them to understand that they can have self-mastery, they can be very attuned spiritually, and also have all of the material success. That they don't have to sacrifice who they truly are spiritually to gain things in the material, that it has to be a balance of both. And I think that as you're expressing this and sharing these philosophies with people, you're also highlighting the fact that maybe the old guard have to go. Maybe these old institutions are too corrupt, is what's coming forward. And they are. I'll be honest. Like, I feel like everyone needs to find their own path to spirit, but I do have a lot of apprehension when it comes to any organization, any, spiritual or otherwise, that is telling you that the only way you can get success or, you know, become a valuable human is if you meet certain expectations. Because my relationship with spirit, my relationship with God is totally the opposite of that. That spirit is all loving, all compassionate. A lot of the darkness that we experience in this life is by design, including our own darkness, our own failures, our own foibles and faults. And there is a never-ending well of compassion and forgiveness that comes from spirit. You can have your own personal relationship with spirit. You don't need to go through anyone else, including me. And everything that feels authentic and truthful to you, as long as it harms none, is exactly right for you. You don't have to fit any mold. You don't have to fit any role. And if you believe in yourself and you are exuding love, and like I said, we harm none, the world is your oyster. And I feel like you're helping people to understand that. And it's emotionally healing them in some way. Like whatever it is that you're doing, whatever your message is, whatever you're achieving, because it definitely feels like this is in the physical, material world. Like you're literally doing something. Like you are creating a business, or you're volunteering or participating in something where you are a figurehead. People are seeing you. And you're healing their heart, and you're giving them hope. You're lighting something inside them that's like intangible and you know, a little elusive, which is kind of exciting to them. There's a certain amount of mystery that you're bringing into their lives, and a whole lot of wonder. It's kind of like Alice down the rabbit hole. It's like you're the white rabbit leading them down this rabbit hole, and you're like, come, follow me. And they don't know where they're going, but they're like, yes, yeah, I'm just gonna go with this, right? And it will take them on many twists and turns, but it's healing their heart. Oh my God, you guys are so powerful. I am grateful for you. I am grateful for everything that you're bringing to this world, into your life, into the lives of others. This is so inspiring. I am so excited to see what you guys do. I would love to know what you guys thought of the reading. If you want to let me know in the comments, or just put in a number 3 so I know that this is the pile that you picked, if you feel called to do that. Or you could like the reading, that would be awesome. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do. You're amazing. Like, I'm so in awe of my collective, and every time I do a reading for you guys, there's like a new layer that honestly I feel changed by this. I feel inspired by your contribution, right? And if you haven't stepped into this role yet, like, you will. This is where you're going. You know, like, it's always darkest before the dawn is what my guides want me to say. Like, you may be in complete darkness and unaware of any of this. And And I was there at one point as well. I had no idea that any of this was going to be my life, but now I look back on it, like, it seems crystal clear to me, and it will become clear to you as well. But I'm so grateful for you, and I would love to do more readings for you. So if you want to subscribe, that would be amazing. And if any of you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one, you can go to my website, odessamall.com. All of my services and booking information are available there. I do tarot card readings, spiritual coaching, Reiki, past life, Akashic Records readings, and I also channel your spirit guides. And I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Take care.